Hello and welcome back to Let's Play RollerCoaster Tycoon 2. First off, I have to apologize for taking so long to make this episode, but I've been having lots of stuff going on, so I didn't really have the time or energy to work on this. But anyway, here I am back, so let's get to this episode. I have the game paused at the moment because, as I mentioned in the previous episode, there were about 2 months that didn't get recorded, so here you can see what I've built in those 2 months. There's a circus ride here called Circus Maximus and some scenery around it to make it look like a Roman circus thing. That's pretty much the only thing I did for those 2 months, so let's get this unpaused and back into action. So I'm going to start building the next roller coaster, which is a wooden one. It's gonna be here underneath the splash boats ride. As usual, I've sped up the footage 4 times normal, but despite that, it's gonna take the entire episode for me to finish the construction of this coaster. It's gonna be quite big and complex as well. It's going to have I'm gonna change the design quite a few times. Like for instance right here, I decided to make the lift hill larger. At the moment it's actually too big, so I'm going to have to change it once again to 21 meters. That should fit nicely. Then onto the track itself, some big drops here. Pretty standard for wooden coasters. Then some twists on top of the hill here. There's not much point in me detailing everything what's happening right now, so might as well talk about something else. For instance, what has been keeping me from editing these videos. I've gotten a lot of new games recently, such as Dead Rising 2 off the record, which is a lot of fun, smashing zombies' heads in and such. And then Batman Arkham City, which is an awesome game. And also Assassin's Creed Revelations, which is pretty neat too. So I've been playing a lot of those. And also Mass Effect 3's multiplayer keeps me addicted. Then recently the Ice Hockey World Championship games began right here in Finland, in the neighboring city of Helsinki. So I've been watching those a lot. Well, they also play in Stockholm in Sweden, but who cares about the Swedes? Just kidding. If anyone from Sweden is watching, I like you. Please don't go. Heja Sverige! Swedish is actually an official language here in Finland. It's mandatory in schools, so I'm rather fluent in it as well. Okay, let's get back to business before things get out of hand. I'm right now getting ready to test the coaster for the first time, building it back to the station so I can do a test run. At this point I didn't slow down the footage back to normal because this isn't the final design. It's gonna change somewhat. Later on you'll see the train go at normal speed through the final design. So here I go deleting that part because it didn't work properly or something. Wasn't satisfied with it. I'm adding a block break right there. Some more hills. And although this second half of the coaster's eventually gonna be quite different in design, most of it gets deleted later on, so here I am building helixes that will get demolished later. Going over the circus, there you can see the scenery I've built around it. I'm being very indecisive at this time, once again going back and forth with different designs and directions to build. So might as well talk about something else again. Let's see, what else have I been doing? I've seen a lot of movies lately. Most recently Dark Shadows, which Johnny Depp is playing in and directed by Tim Burton. That was pretty funny. And then before that I saw The Avengers, which was fantastic, very nice movie. And The Nearest American Pie, that was funny too. And then Cabin in the Woods, that was quite interesting and also surprisingly funny. And then I saw this was it Malaysian film called The Raid Redemption, which is like these cops go into this crime infested building which is controlled by the mafia or whatever, and then they get trapped there and start getting slaughtered. Lots of martial arts and shooting and things like that. Pretty cool stuff. And then I also saw Battleship, that was rather entertaining, also surprisingly funny. Nice effects and all as well. And then before that I saw Iron Sky, which is a Finnish movie. I recommend you see it. It's a science fiction film, but it's also political satire, very funny stuff. Well, it's not entirely finished because it's made in Germany and other countries as well, but the director and the writers and producers and things like that are mostly Finnish. So it's very good, go see it if you can. It's I forgot to mention what the story is about. It's hilarious. It's about the space Nazis invading. They've been hiding on the dark side of the moon ever since they got their ass kicked in the Second World War. So they went up there and started making this doomsday device, and now they're coming back to kick some ass. Anyway, back to what's happening in this video. I'm getting close to the final design here, and soon going to build again once again back to the station for another test run. Right here, delete that and then connect these two to be able to test. And I think at this point, yeah, I've slowed down the footage so you can see how the train goes. Checking on some rides here because those damn guests aren't paying for the tickets. Damn you. Empty queue lines all around. I'm not paying that much. Oh, when I talked about Iron Sky, I should mention it's directed, and a lot of the people making it are also involved with Star Wreck, the Beginning, which is the movie that I mentioned in episode 2 or 3 or something like that. So it's by the same guys that made that film. Here we go, the test run is going through the helixes and onto some big drops again. Whee! And some more twists and turns and whatnots. And then onto the splash sections right here. Splosh, and take a picture when you're wet. And then some terrifying underground helixes. And onto another splash. And it's not going to be the last one, I promise you. There's going to be 2 more water splashes in this design, I think. There, the test is complete. Except there's no lift hill here, so the train didn't make it all the way, but that's beside the point. I just wanted to make sure that the train makes it through all those hills. Then we have another splash section, and then a break here and another lift hill for the second part of the coaster. The lift hill isn't gonna be that tall, so this second part is nearly not as long as the first part. It's going to go over and under and under and over these rides and things here. First under Davy Jones' locker and then over it. Just gotta make some adjustments to get the right design and move that path there. And then over Davy Jones' locker and also over that hideous looking feeding ground there. Which I will change as soon as we're in live recording. There it goes over it and then back to ground level, and then some twisted hills and a helix towards the station here. Then we have some trouble with the mechanics. One of them seems to have disappeared and is not repairing Area 51. Yep, mechanic number 2 has disappeared, vanished without a trace. I think it's because if you have an exit underground, then there's a very small chance that instead of continuing onto the path when a mechanic exits the ride, he'll simply drop down into the void and disappear. So that glitch is pretty annoying, but not that common, fortunately. Then I'm going to build a loop around this path here, prominently displayed when you enter the park. No matter how many times I've built this type of half underground loop, it always takes some time to find out which blocks need to be lowered and how much. There, I've done it, and then a hill here, but then I noticed that the placing is not ideal because I would have to use an S-bend, so I'm changing the positioning of that loop that way so that you can fit a small helix or something in this space. Going under Davy Jones once more through a helix, and then at this point I'm gonna add the final water splash. It's the last one, making sure you're really wet. No one escapes the water. In this ride you will get wet. Gotta place one of those signs at the entrance. Having some trouble here to fit all this stuff in the small space. Gotta find the right design for that hill, so I can get some more helixes and back to the station level. But it'll get done in this episode, but fortunately there won't be time to see the test results, so you'll have to wait for those. Nope, that won't work. Still not enough room to get past that hill and back to the station. So now I've got the right design down. Go immediately into the hill and underground as fast as possible. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Now we have some space for a break, an S-bend, another break, and also a block break before connecting to the station. So the design is finally complete, as well as this episode. So I'll see you in the next one, where you get to see the test results and also me building more stuff, rides and scenery as well.